What's up, Group Coach Nation? I got my buddy Neil O'Brien here today. And as y'all know, you love tuning into this because we look under the hood and see like how these masterminds actually work. So Neil is somebody who's been running masterminds for quite a long time. And we met not too long ago. And I started asking questions like, oh my gosh, dude, we got to have you on the show. Because he is freaking genius at keeping people in a mastermind for years and years and years. Like he's got people who've been in his mastermind for 9 years plus. And that's not an easy thing to do, just so you all know. It takes a lot of culture building, a lot of like really meeting your clients' needs, a lot of like ins and outs to that process. So Neil, before we get started, first of all, just thank you. Where are you calling from, Neil? Where's home?
In Cork, in Ireland.
Nice.
Yeah.
So all you lucky Americans, we love a good Irish accent. You get to listen to this. It's fantastic. Neil, can you explain, first of all, like who your market is and what you help people do in your mastermind, so people can kind of get their framework around, oh, this is what this looks like, and then we'll get into how you do what you do.
Chris, thanks very much for having me. It's delighted to be here. I always love talking about masterminds, so I really appreciate the opportunity. And like at the moment, there's masterminds I run at the moment, and there's also ones I'm working on. But I mean, to me, a mastermind is a community of business owners. They're similar mindset. They all want to grow their business, but they also like helping other people. So, and it's great to see the friendships that develop in the group. So what do? I would say I help business owners come in, join my communities where they help and support and motivate each other to grow their business. I'm very focused on profits. So, to me, it's all about growing profits so that people can put money aside, and, when they want to step back from the business, that they'll have a comfortable lifestyle. Yeah. That's my main focus.
Are your mastermind participants in a certain industry or business type?
It's all sectors, manufacturing, engineering, food, you name it, marketing. However, I am working on putting together a specific sector masterminds for accountants and CPAs. So that's really floating my boat. At the moment, it's all businesses.
Great.
Yeah.
And you're a financial type CPA accountant by training, right?
Yeah, I trained as it's a cost of management accounting. So I trained, my training was around costing, how to cost products. And also that got me onto profitability and 80/20, which I totally love. So maybe that's a topic for another day, Chris. But I, consulting, worked as an accountant, started my own consulting business. I've been doing that for 22 years. And then about 10 years ago, I started hearing about masterminds. And I just thought, I have to join one and then I have to run them. And I am, and I just love masterminds. Totally love them.
I love it. Well done, you. Did you go into one-on-one or done for you services before you went to Mastermind, or did you just go straight to Masterminds when you left corporate?
No, my consulting would be done with you, really. So I go into a business and I'd review their pricing. A lot of businesses don't know how to set the pricing properly, so I've developed all these templates to do it with them and do it for them, I suppose, is the consulting. Yeah.
All right, cool. So do you still do consulting and the mastermind? Are those clients, well, first of all, do you do both still?
Yes, okay. I do both still. Yes. I
don't. You're consulting. Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
No. Okay. No, I don't go chasing consulting work, but it comes to me. But my focus very much now and going forward is masterminds. But I still so my ideal mix would be probably 75% masterminds and 25% consulting.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do your mastermind participants also get consulting as part of the offer, or do they cross that line back and forth? How does that work?
It's a separate service. So a lot of them are happy just with the mastermind. And then others will say to me, from time to time, they want me to come along and do a monthly review of their business. So they're separate packages and separate pricing. Yeah.
And I know the answer to this question, I think, but you've not told me. Any idea what percentage of your mastermind clients end up wanting consulting help here and there? Is it 10%, half of them, 75%, 20%?
At any one time, it's about 25%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've asked that question hundreds of times, and it averages right around 30 to 32%.
Oh, very precise, 32%.
Yeah, I keep records on all this stuff. Yeah, I'm a financial guy too. So yeah, I think it's fascinating, and people often ask, like, when you do this mastermind or group coaching thing, how does it play out, and do you still get? And a lot of people do, and a lot of people don't take
Mm,
clients once they start doing masterminds. But if you
yeah,
want it, it's totally it's a great thing. You can still do both. Okay,
yeah.
all right. So let's talk longevity of clients. You have
Mm,
clients who stay with you for a very long time.
yeah.
Why, fill in the blank however you want, because that is a big nut to crack.
Yes, it certainly is. And I mean, even the very first mastermind group I joined in the UK, after about 2.5 years, it kind of just fell apart. But I could see it coming. So I certainly learned from that. I mean, my original group, Chris, the very first group I started 9 years ago, 4 of the original members are still joined. And of the other people, I'd say on average, the other members, the newer members, they're there 4.5 years on average. So I am very proud of it, because I mean, obviously people are paying me every month. They keep coming back, and I do ask myself from time to time, what brings them back? And I think there's two main reasons. The first one is that the group is very focused on the members. It's not about me. It's not about Neil. It's about the members and what they want. So I do surveys a couple of times a year. I will survey them, and I'll ask them we've guest speakers every second month. We bring in guest speakers. So I'm always asking them, what guest speakers do you want? And I'll pick the most popular. And as an example, AI, we all know how topical AI is. So they asked me AI for marketing. So I will go and find somebody who I think is really good. We had somebody just a couple of weeks ago, AI guy called James. He's brilliant. He focuses on marketing tools, AI marketing tools for businesses. And we had him last year, and I knew he was really good. So we got him back, and he had all these new tools to show us. And it was a very interactive session. So I think that's one of the keys, is that the members say to me, they want somebody on tax, they want somebody on LinkedIn, selling skills, whatever it is. And I suppose I have a very good network of business owners. So I have a pretty good track record of finding people who are good when they come in as guest speakers. And for the guest speaker, it's great because they will often get work from it. So,
Yeah.
So it works really well. That's one of the keys. And I think the second key is that all the members, there's different formats of masterminds, and some masterminds, some of the members get hot seats, and maybe it's not every month, but every month my members get a 15-minute hot seat. And so I think that's a key part as well. So they all know, regardless of what the challenge is, if it's cash flow or sales or people, that they get an opportunity to put it out to the group. And the group is so well tried and tested, it works like clockwork. So they will get fresh ideas. I record them on Trello. Everybody gets emailed their actions. And when they come back the following month, each member, before they tell us their question for that month, they must update the group on their actions. So there's a nice bit of accountability in there as well.
That's really good. Love that. That's a strong play. How often do you guys meet? How often do y'all meet? Is it monthly, weekly, every other? What do you do?
Monthly. And because they're local businesses, we actually meet live. We meet in a hotel room in Cork. Just it's a very central location for everybody. And I know I run mastermind groups on Zoom as well, but there's that extra magic to meeting live, isn't there? I mean, meeting live is just it's you can't beat it, So there's hybrid masterminds. This one is live because it's convenient. Everybody's within 30 minutes drive.
I love that.
Yeah,
you're right. There's something magic about in person. We run multiple groups, and ours are all hybrid. But I mean, it's true. Like a weekend or 3 or 4 days together with a group is worth a year of Zoom sessions. It's just it's so much fun. Good for you. I love this. Okay, so you're really, really actually paying attention to what your members want, and you're helping them get those resources, achieve those goals, that kind of stuff. You're helping them stay accountable. How many people do you put in a mastermind group at one time?
Between 6, the current groups are between 6 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you find that there's a max number that a group can be for you as a facilitator that makes sense?
Yeah, well, I suppose because everybody gets a hot seat, there is an upper limit. And at the moment, I've one member rejoining, so that's 10. And somebody else asked me from another group who dropped out, asked me if they can join the first group. So I'm going to have to put that to the members because that would be 11. So because everybody gets their hot seat, you don't want it going on too long. So there's probably a limit. I'd say 10 for me because everybody gets a hot seat. And because you have a guest speaker, 10 for me is the upper limit so that everybody gets a hot seat.
Okay, so you meet once a month in person, and there's frequently a guest in there,
Yes.
guest speaker, and then everybody gets a hot seat once a month for 15 minutes. How long is this session?
Never more than 4 hours. It's 3.5, 4 hours.
So a half
That's
day.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I suppose the great thing too, Chris, is that because the group is so well established, everybody knows it runs like clockwork because everybody knows the hot seat. Okay, the first part is we'll get an update on the actions. Then there's a question, and it's a very specific question, clarifying questions, and then probably like 10 minutes brainstorming. And at the end, pick your actions. And everybody, because the members are so familiar with the format, it actually runs, the meetings just run like clockwork. And one other thing as well, and I suppose I think that one of the keys to the longevity and the effectiveness is that I do make little changes and tweaks as I go along. So I'm always looking at other masterminds and what people are doing. And a change I made, probably I was only running about a year. I joined a group in the US, Karen Greenstreet, and she did something differently from what we were doing. In her group, everybody emailed in their question 2 days before the meeting.
Ooh.
We've adopted that. Now, that made a huge difference because before that, members would sit down in the hot seat and they'd be, if they weren't clear on their question, it's like they start talking about it, but they're not clear. So there's a lot of time taken up and you're trying to get clarity on their question. And then there's the members are trying to understand it. So they're asking more clarifying questions. And next thing, half your time is gone. When people have to email in the question 2 days beforehand, they have to email in the question and the background. It means they have to think about it, they have to put it in writing, and they email it to everyone in the group. So what happens is you're seeing people's challenges before the meeting. And what happens is, our brains start coming up with ideas and solutions. And I think that's another key part of the effectiveness as a group is getting those questions in early.
That's really good practice. All right, everybody, like Group Coach Nation, y'all are freaking awesome geniuses at what you do. Like, everybody's got your expertise that you're the best at. People want to lean in and get your information and learn from you and be in a community with you and all this stuff. I just want to clarify a few things that Neil is saying here that are just so perfect. Neil, first of all, just kudos to you. You're crushing this. This is best practices over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So awesome to see this. Number one, this is a true mastermind. We talk about group coaching programs and masterminds. Group coaching programs are where you're teaching, sequential steps, taking a community of people through a process. That's fantastic. That is not a mastermind. I know people market them as masterminds. It's simply not a mastermind. I don't really care what people call them, but it's just by definition, those group coaching programs or e-courses or whatever they are not masterminds. This is a mastermind where you have a very defined group that gets to know each other for a long time, a lot of trust built, and they're actually advising each other like a board of directors.
Yeah.
This is brilliant.
Yeah.
One of the things Neil is doing here, just to really highlight this for everybody, is the structure of Q&A, hot seats, the emails, all those things that are going into this. That the structure's just brilliant. It's great. But the trust and the time, the longevity is what makes that work. I want everybody to recognize that. If you're thinking of joining a mastermind, please, if it's a real mastermind, don't go into this joining thinking I'm going to get in there for 3 or 6 months and it's going to change my life. It doesn't change your life that fast. What changes your life is the other wise, experienced people in the group getting to know you over the course of years, where when you do ask a question, they know the whole backstory. And they know your personality, they know your key people on your team, they know all this stuff, and they can help you and see something really quickly that just a coach or somebody else who's just like got a little snippet of information just honestly can't get that deep. So that's why I'm really highlighting this longevity piece, because I truly think, Neil, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this. You can disagree if you want. I truly believe that longevity in a mastermind group the trust and then the longevity that builds trust, those two things, trust and longevity, go together, are really what make them work. They're trusting you, they're trusting each other, and you have time, these people. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah. And the fact you're saying it, Chris, is probably it's a big factor, and it's maybe one that I didn't mention earlier on. So it's probably another. It's maybe an indirect, or it's a more subtle factor in a mastermind group, and it's one maybe I just probably don't appreciate fully all the time. But absolutely, because when somebody comes into the group and they have, sometimes it's it could be a marketing question, which is, you'd say, is safe enough to put out into a group. But other times it can be, we don't stray too much into personal, but it could be a staff issue, and that could be a reflection on the owner itself. So there's a manager who maybe is causing some issues with the owner, who's the member of the group. And so I suppose it's a bit more personal, because they're actually involved in that relationship with their manager. So to come along and be able to talk openly about that. And you're right, sometimes somebody will ask a question, and somebody in the group will say, well, didn't you ask around that, a few months ago, didn't you have a similar question about a manager? Was that the same manager? And they'll go, yeah. So like, they kind of know the background as well. But that trust is so important, because until that's there, people probably won't open up as much as they want to. And you want people to open up, because you need to see the whole issue and challenge, all the nuances of the challenge.
Yeah. I love this. Okay. Anything else? By the way, for those of you who want to get in touch with Neil, here's his LinkedIn account right here on the screen. If you're listening in, it's just LinkedIn, the normal stuff, LinkedIn, but his handle is Neil O'Brien Mastermind Facilitator. Neil O'Brien Mastermind Facilitator. Yeah.
It's a long one, Chris. Yeah, it is.
Hey, it's a good one. Yeah. We'll try to pop that in the comments and notes as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So Neil, the work that you do in person, you said you're starting a new group that's just for accounting firms. That's kind of what you're building.
Correct.
Is that going to be in person, or are you going to make that virtual? How are you going to do that one?
Ideally some hybrid, like you mentioned earlier on, Chris. I mean, I think the live element is so important. So one option might be you'd meet quarterly live and then have it on Zoom the other months, but the live element is so important, because I've actually a newer group I'm running is all on Zoom, and that's fine, but you can kind of, it works fine, but you just sense that. And we did meet up live at a conference, but it's kind of like you sense it's not quite the same, So the live element is just so important.
It really is.
Yeah.
Man, I love this. Okay. All right. So where do you see this going in the next, 5 years? Like, what are you trying to build here? What are you doing?
Yeah, I've a huge vision and plan around this, Chris. And I'm saying with the accountants, but I suppose one of the real drivers for me is I love helping business owners. But like, I love being able to go help a business owner, whether it's in a mastermind or consulting, so they understand their numbers and they can start changing those numbers. But that's going to feed into their personal lives. Does that mean that they can step back from the business? Does it mean they can put their kids through college? Maybe retire at 60 rather than 70, So a huge driver and passion for me is helping business owners. So what I'm planning to do with these accountants is actually get them into a group, and I have some brilliant tools that can help them help their clients. So I want 10 accountants who've all got, let's say 100 clients, they'll have hundreds, but if they can help 100 clients, by giving them better advice and helping them improve their business and their lives, that's 1,000 now straight away. And then I want those 10 accountants who are mastermind, they're part of large organizations. I want the 10 of them after a year or two to go and run their own group. Okay. So go and get 10 of your managers from other offices and you run group. And now you've got another 1,000 businesses being helped over here, because it is all about business, business. Yeah, we work with business owners, but it's the business quite often is a stepping stone. It's just sometimes it's a means to an end. I know it's important, but the end goal is so important that we're helping business owners actually have their business really help them achieve their personal and lifestyle goals, to me, is what it all boils down to.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm excited about that. First, that's so great. Good for you.
Yeah.
How do you one more question, and then we'll wrap it up. How do you
Okay.
get your clients for your mastermind? Is it referral? Do you do marketing? Or like, by the
Um,
way, backstory here. Before we jumped into this call, or before we started this recording, I was
Yeah.
asking Neil, how do you want me to get people in touch with you? And he was like, LinkedIn, because my website's kind of getting some work done. And
Yeah.
I hear that all the time with successful people who run groups and masterminds. It's not typically about your marketing. Anyway. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
overthink this, folks. What's your secret,
Yeah.
Neil?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of referrals. So, I mean, my existing members help me find new members and so on. And also accountants, CPAs. My second group was set up by partnering with a CPA accountant. And that's my plan going forward. I'm currently in discussions with some large accounting organizations who've got, thousands and tens of thousands of clients. So that's my plan, is to work with accountants to help them help their clients.
Yeah.
Through
I love it.
Masterminds. Yeah.
Through Mastermind. It's personal connections, folks. It's relationships. Again, the Mastermind thing is not about getting 1,000 people to buy a product. It's about trust and deep life change. And Neil, you're such a great example of this.
Yeah, love it. Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Neil's info down there again, if you want to find him on LinkedIn. By the way, this is not a marketing thing for Neil. Like, that's not why we're doing this podcast. This is like, he's just kind enough to let us like take a look at what's behind the curtain in the business model. So LinkedIn, if you want to find him, his handle on LinkedIn is Neil O'Brien. That's O'Brien spelled O, obviously, no apostrophe, but NeilObrien, Mastermind Facilitator.
Yeah.
All right, Neil,
Brilliant.
if there's any last words of wisdom about somebody who's like, I want to fix my mastermind, or I want to get my mastermind up and running, a true mastermind, what would it be?
Well, it's all about the member. It's not about you. It's about your members. And if you keep asking them what they want and providing that to them, then they'll keep coming back.
Done. Great.
Yeah.
Group Coach Nation. Neil, we can hang out for a second more, but Group Coach Nation, good for you. Like, go freaking do the work. Get the results. And like Neil's saying here, it's about like doing the right work. We talk about this all the time. Do work, get results. Just please do the right work so you can actually see the change that you want to see for yourself and others. You got this. Neil, thank you again.
Thank you very much, Chris.